some echoes or whatever, and then I can
I have the broadcast is live.
Yes, can you see it? Okay.
No, I can't see it.
I can't see it on Facebook yet, but I can. Yes.
Yes.
I can see now that something has changed.
Okay.
I can see something has changed. If you can go to Facebook one more time, you will turn it off in a moment. Go to Facebook to check if you can see us, because I'm the host and I think I can't see what's going on there. Okay, or maybe it will go. Yes.
Yes.
Equals or whatever, and then I can.
I have the broadcast.
So this is why you need to turn it off, because it would this it would what distract us all the time and interrupt the conversation. Cool. So we are there, and we
are
can.
There. Hello, hello everybody. Hi.
Yeah. So hello everyone. My name is Joanna Szelong. I'm English Please teacher, and today I've got this pleasure, enormous pleasure, to host my lovely guest, Magdalena Łanuszka, who is my friend. She is my friend, but it's not only that. She also is a historian of art, or art historian.
Art historian.
So, Magdalena, tell us what or how are you introduced in English when you have to lecture in English, or when you speak to people in English? What is your official title, and what is your job? What do you do?
Well, art historian, that's it. I mean,
historian, that's it. But you have a degree, yes? So how do they say it? What do they say about you?
No, they
don't
really. No, they. I mean, the very interesting introduction I once got was in New York. Actually, they just said, "This is Magdalena of unpronounceable surname."
Yes, because Łanuszka is unpronounceable in English. It is so difficult.
And they were very confused about, the letter at the beginning that looks like a pound, but it's not. Anyway, no. Well, yeah, I do have PhD, but it's just that I'm art historian and I am a medievalist, which it not always applies, because I have lectures and I write articles and I do research also on early modern art, so not only medieval. Another thing possibly interesting is that especially in British university, British academia, and I think also in American, they define Middle Ages differently than we do.
So they put different years to the Middle Ages.
Yeah. They often assume that if you are a medievalist, you deal with art up to beginning of the 14th century, counting 14th and especially 15th century as, Italian perspective, as a Renaissance. And of course, here in Central Europe, we get Middle Ages, that is late Gothic art, up to half 16th century. So, and I'm actually specializing in that, in late Gothic painting mostly. So it's mainly 15th and early 16th century. Here in Central Europe, it's totally medieval. It's I am a legit medievalist here. Absolutely.
Okay, and you are art historian, but you specialize in bringing art and the history of art to everyday bread eaters in laymen, yes, laymen who don't know anything about art, or they just know, aha, it's beautiful, and that's it. Yes. So, how come that you started doing that?
Oh, that's a very good
Talking about
question.
art to normal, let's say, normal people, not educated in this field.
Well, yes. In fact, I think that popularizing is something that you can't define the beginning of being interested in that. But I think for me it was very much teaching at the university, because after I completed my PhD, I worked as a lecturer at Jagiellonian University for like 7 years, and I had classes in very different institutes, and they were I did not actually teach in actual Institute of Art History, but other institutes. So I had to prepare lectures for students who were not studying art history, but they had art history classes as something
Option.
extra.
Yes.
Yeah, and I felt that this was very satisfying. It was rewarding to see how they say, wow, we thought that would be boring. We thought that we you know what I mean, because they didn't come there for art history. And when I saw that I managed to make it interesting for them, they kind of encouraged me to go on with it. And another thing is that many times they ask me, okay, can you recommend some books about art history which would be those books, which would be like your lectures. That means like, not very difficult and focusing on some interesting things.
Digestible.
Yeah. And I realized it's not that easy to recommend something. And that was the point where my husband told me, you should write a blog. And it was a long time ago. But this is how it started, and then everything else went with it. It also was related to my lectures for third age universities, because seniors are also a wonderful audience. And then since I don't know, I think since 2009. I'm having lectures on medieval manuscripts, from my friend who ran workshops on medieval calligraphy and illumination. And all of that combined, with starting a blog, just created that path for me. And then after some time, I realized that this is actually what I want to do. So I quit university, no more academia, and just focused on that, really. And I'm very glad I did this.
We will, of course, include a link to your blog down below under this conversation, so that people can get to know you. And what's interesting about the blog is the fact that you, I think from the very beginning, you carried it on both in Polish and English.
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Is there this obvious reason why?
Yes. No, it's a good question, because it takes a lot of time to post each post into linguistic versions, because it's not as easy as just translating it. Because that was sorry. Why? Because I thought that I'm going to write quite a lot about what I specialize in, which is Polish art, or no, Central European art, and especially art of Lesser Poland, because this is my area. And I have this Central European patriotic vibe that I want the entire world to see how awesome art we have here. And by here, I mean, Poland and Czech and Hungary and the broadly understood Central Europe. And so I decided that this is a very good opportunity to just, also practice my English, of course, but to to go with this content to people who, want to understand Polish, of course. And then it turned out that, the issue is that when you write about something Polish in Polish, there are certain things you don't have to explain. Like you write, okay, so this is the tomb of King Władysław Jagiełło, and that's it. You will not explain.
Everybody knows, yes.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you write about the same thing in English, you can't just translate the post. You have to add, some explanation about it, and this is challenging sometimes. But I think this. Well, I'm particularly satisfied when I manage to post something on Central European art. I have tagged Central Europe. You can filter those, and that's.
And did it help you writing in English, writing your blog in English? Did it help you to get some foreign public?
Yes, a lot actually. Yes, I'm actually surprised how sometimes I get like a comment right now to the post that was posted like 5 years ago, and it means someone reads it now.
Yes.
It's really it works. And to be honest, it also started after some time. It started to work for me in terms of my job, because it looks good in resume, and it's something that when I apply for some job or sometimes I get some proposals to write something, it's because someone saw my blog, and that's also it also refers to the English version.
Okay, so you are very fluent in English. Now, how did you get to that point? Could you explain to everyone, how did you learn? What was your path of English learning? How did you get to this fluent English usage where you can express barely everything you want?
Thank you so much. Well.
Yes. So could you tell us, how was it? When did you start? We are like, we know how old we are, both.
Yes.
Yes. How did it start? When did you start? And when was this breakthrough point when you really became fluent?
It's a funny thing about languages, because you have to use them, I would say, to really, get fluent and perhaps confident. Maybe this is more important. In case of English, well, yes, I started very early. I mean, I don't count even, like, I think I had some first English lessons when I was about 4 or 5 or something.
Oh.
But I started regular classes, I think I was 9. And then after, because in primary school as main language, I had German actually. English was, of the private classes.
It was a novelty in public schools, yes? In state schools.
Well, I mean, we were the German. Yeah, we were the first generation that ditched Russian, I think. So yes. that was the point. Anyway, then I went to high school to a class with extended English, and this is, I would say, this would be the most important moment, because that was the decision that there would be a lot of English for me, and I continued learning German, and that is a beautiful disaster. I mean, really, I don't know how is that possible? 8 years of learning German, and honestly, right now we live here in Czech. Hello from Znojmo. We go to Austria every weekend on bikes, and we just get humiliated. I'm trying to communicate with people in German, and it doesn't work. So no, but English went well. And then at the university, I also continued English, and that would be, so, you know, I don't know, if you sum it up, what, 12 years or something of just learning. But I would say that it's not where, you know, getting fluent really started. Because then the most important thing is to use that language. And again, I would say, on another example, that you can really learn language and be able to understand and not be able to speak at all. And that's what I did with French, which it's very, you know, it's in resume, I put it as working knowledge, which means that when I when I work, when I have a scholarly article, I can read it, I will understand it, I can do references in my important scholarly article, but then I can't say a word in French, sorry. And it's a disaster, I would say. And then with English, I'm very happy that I made completely different choices. I don't know if it's, you know, it's easier probably because you can watch movies, series. You are surrounded by English, and somehow because I focused on English in high school and then at university, of course, searching for any job relating to foreign language was also always focused for me on English. And of course, well, I had that wonderful chance to work as a researcher in New York for 5 months in a project, National Inventory of Continental European Paintings. And, you know, that's how you really learn. You stay for 5 months in Great Britain and you just, you know, talk to people. And honestly, I believe that talking to native speakers is the absolutely best way. Right now, I am involved in Anglican community here in Poland and also in Czech, because we do have in Prague and in Brno. And this is it. You get, you know, if you are in touch with people from Britain, from America, and you talk to them, it's really, it's much easier, you know.
So this is what I think we see. All of us can see that you don't really learn English from the textbook. Yeah, so textbook is there at school, and you pass those tests. You can have 5s or 6s even, or yes, fantastic grades. But if you don't have these relationships with regular people, you you can't say that you know the language, that it is alive. Yes, that this
Absolutely,
language is
absolutely.
alive. So
you know, it's always
okay.
Sorry,
Okay,
yes.
No, I just wanted, but if you want to finish your thought, finish it, because I have next question.
Okay, yeah, because no, but my thought is going further, because the thing is that, well, to finish about my journey, I started to seek for another job opportunities, and altogether right now part of what I do is in English. Not everything, I would say, a lot, because you know, I run Art and Heritage in Central Europe column, and I am an editor of Riha Journal in Poland, which, you know, that's, everything is in English, and it's good. And I mean, like right now I had an opportunity to have some lectures in the UNESCO project online in English about Polish heritage. Cool. I mean, it's great that I can use English actually, but I also, you know, I'm looking for opportunities myself to you know, to use English for myself. It's like, you know, reading stuff online, or getting involved into some communities or fandoms. Fan fiction huge thing, you know, and you can meet people who like what you like and then discuss those things, series or books, with them. And also because I'm a person who talks to themselves. I mean, I thought everyone does it, but apparently not. Recently, I saw the interview with Shirley MacLaine, who said, during pandemics, I started talking to myself. And I was like, what? Didn't you do that before? And to be honest, at some point, I decided, why don't I talk to myself in English? Because
that's a great idea. This is what I recommend my students. Just talk to yourself if you have no audience.
Mm-hmm. That's even better, because you don't get so stressed and you don't get blocked because you talk to yourself. So basically, and it helps, you know, because somehow it is easier. I think, I don't know, maybe it's my experience, because I started off writing, and I write a lot, or I edit someone else's writing, and I focused on written word. And then it turns out that it's easier to write something, and then it's not that easy to say it. You know?
Yes.
And for that, I would say that talking to yourself is a very good idea, really. And this is what I like about wearing masks when there was pandemic on the streets, because finally I could just walk and talk to myself, and it didn't look that weird.
Nobody would tell that you're talking. Yes. But you touched upon a very important thing. This English and speaking English, it can't stay in your mind. So it's not only thinking English, because when you think, all sentences, they come beautiful, they are rounded, you use the sophisticated vocabulary and phrases that you know because you know a lot. But when it comes to your mouth and through your mouth, it turns out you end up sometimes with this simple go, have, and do. Yes, very limited repertoire, because you don't practice. It's like muscle memory. This is how we learn native language. Our muscles remember sounds, words, sets of words, and then we use actually sets of words. We don't create every sentence from scratch. Yes. So, and the same as with English, you can have huge vocabulary, but if you don't have it in those sentence chunks or parts of sentences, yes, in those chunks that come through your mouth, you can't use it. Like it's dead all the time. So, and tell me now about, do you remember your first lecture in English? What was your, how did you feel? Where
I don't remember. No, honestly. No.
So it must have been not a very stressful experience.
No, you know what?
Maybe there is one that you remember.
No, because I don't think. I think that talking came first, and I think it started when I worked in New York. There were those opportunities for me 2 or 3 times that I presented what I did, you know, during the project, and it was kind of like a lecture, but more like a talk. And I think that this is the point, that you need to. The question is, how can you tell yourself not to relax, not to be stressed about, you know, talking? And it was because first, when I went to York, I was very stressed. First of all, I had that very stupid feeling that they hired me thinking that perhaps my English is better than it really is. And I was very stressed that, you know, at some point it will show. Of course, it was ridiculous, because I was on interview and they very well knew that my English is far from perfect. but they hired me because I'm a specialist on that art that they had to, that needed to be catalogued. So, you know, but I wasn't thinking that way. So I was very nervous. And I remember that during first weeks, I was immensely stressed when someone said something to me in a store or on the street, and I didn't understand. But instead of saying, "Excuse me, could you repeat?" I didn't understand. I tried to pretend that I understood because I didn't want to show that I didn't, you know.
I know. I also know it so well.
Yeah, and also remember on very first day in the bus from the airport, some elder lady who was very nice asked me about something. I don't remember what, and I didn't know. So I just told her very carefully that I'm sorry, I don't know. And she just looked at me and said, "Oh, from what part of Southern America are you?"
Wow.
And it was so funny on one hand, and on the other hand, I was like, okay, I have to stop pretending that I'm someone else. And then I realized it wasn't obvious for me. I think there are two factors. One factor is that, unfortunately, if we just keep English within our education, with our brain just, you know, creates some kind of image that we are being judged, because that's how it works in classes. Right? You want to say something and you wait for the teacher to say that it's good or that it's not good, and we start to associate using language with being tested, you know. And
Yes.
this is first thing that I realized there. I think it was there in York, that I'm not being tested. That's the first thing. And the other thing is that British, very nice British people, they really think this is awesome that I am trying to speak their language. and I realized that there are two scenarios when you use English. You either talk to native speaker, and you should not be stressed, because yes, they will hear your mistakes,
and your accent.
And your accent, yeah. But that's not the point. The point is that if they understood what you meant, that's a success. That's already good. And usually they are really, you know, they are really nice, and they are like, okay, great. They said to me many times, I would never learn Polish. So, you know, you are awesome for talking to me in my own language. That's the first thing. And the other thing is that I also often use English in the group of people for whom English is also foreign language, because like I'm at the international conference here in Czech, and there are Czechs, but there are also Hungarians and somebody from Italy and so on. So we all use English because we want to, you know, everyone
communicate.
to understand. Yeah, I mean, it's in that situation. I also talk in English to my Czech colleagues, although we communicate like in Polish in Czech, but that would be rude to our Hungarian colleagues standing, you know, by. So we use English. And then it's another thing that if you talk to someone for whom English is not first language either, again, you shouldn't be stressed, because they don't judge you. They may even not notice your mistakes or make their own mistakes. And for me, it was like, once I realized that it's not about me being judged, it's, you know, opened my mind and built some confidence, you know. This is the most important thing, I think.
Well, yes. So the message is most important, what you want to say, and not the point that somebody will laugh at you or point at your mistakes and say, correct yourself.
No. But it's in our heads, you know. Yes. This is the work we have to do ourselves with ourselves, because They don't think about judging us. We
yes,
think
I think this is the therapy that we have to undergo. We have to be treated, all of us, after the education system error. I would say error. It's not a mistake. It's an error that there is. It's erratic, this system. I try to fight with it, but it is so difficult because even students, they get used to this test and judging atmosphere, testing, judging, and so on. And they even don't let the teacher be their coach, but they want the teacher to be the teacher who gives marks and tests them.
Yeah.
And it is very, very hard because all of us are in this system, in this educational system for 12 or more years. And this imposter syndrome, because this is called imposter syndrome, I think, what you said, yes, that they will tell, I just pretend I know it.
Yeah.
I used to experience it for a long time as a teacher, that I come to my students and they will tell I don't know English. They will find out that I make mistakes. They will find out that I'm not a native English speaker, that I'm, that I have this accent, that I, and it was so difficult, so stressful, and it blocked my teaching super skills, yes, superpowers. It blocks your superpowers, all of us, when we think like that. So this is very valuable what you say. Okay, so to round up, to wrap it up, have you got any advice for our fellow English users? I will say, not English students, but English users, because we want just to use English. Any advice? What to do? How to study to get more self-confidence and more fluency, and to use the language for the purpose to communicate what you really want to communicate, to be yourself, and to be yourself also in English, not only in your native language. Anything that you could help us with?
I would start with what I already said. Talking to yourself is really a good idea. And also, finding that if there's something that interests you in private life, I mean, go explore it in English, and perhaps that's like the space for meeting other people. And then nowadays you can have really internet friends on the other side of the ocean and never meet them in person, yet talk to them on a regular basis. And this, I think, is searching. As I said, my journey was I don't know if it was very strange, but the fact that I am here related with Anglican community, it actually gives me opportunity to talk to, on regular basis, to talk to British people. And this searching for those opportunities, just to talk to someone who is native speaker, or just to talk to someone else who's not native speaker but wants to talk to you in English about something that is not from textbook, and is not what you force yourself to study, but what is of your interest. That, I think, is always a good idea. And and talking to oneself.
That is a fantastic piece of advice. Find something that is of your interest. Find a community, or find videos on YouTube where you can listen about it, where you can learn vocabulary that you don't know, but it is related to what you are interested in. And then talk to other people in groups, in communities. Yes, and the internet helps us with it. Yes, and the internet helped us to meet today. So I'm so grateful that you had this time, that we had this opportunity to see each other and to talk to each other. Thank you on behalf of everybody else who was listening. It was so interesting and inspiring. You are an inspiration to me all the time, Magdalena.
Thank you so much. You are wonderful, and thank you for having me. Really, I'm honored.
No, I'm honored more. Okay, my pleasure, and yours hopefully as well. Thank you, all of you who are listening. Be inspired, go find what you're interested in, and remember to be yourself speaking English. You are not judged, you are not laughed at. Most important thing is that you put through what you want to say.
It's about
this is what counts.
Yes,
exactly. So this is what counts. Thank you, Magdalena. We finish it. My first live is over. Thank you. And